This session got out of hand literally seconds after I sat down. I was faced with constant all-ins, huge decisions, and non-stop big pots. So in this video, I'll show you how to play in these high-pressure situations to be a profitable poker player. First hand of the night, I'm going to get dealt Pocket 8, my third favorite starting hand in poker, and I'm going to be in hijack position. It's going to be on my opponent on low jack, and they're going to be finding that $5 limp. With having such a strong start in hand here, we are not going to be going for the over limp. We really want to be putting in a raise here, so we're going to be bumping it up all the way to $25. And even with that big of a raise, cutoff calls, button calls, small blind folds, big blind calls, and the original opener with getting such a good price is going to be put in the call as well. So it's a family pot, and we're going to be going to a flop of 8 king 6, 2 diamonds. Oh baby, what a beautiful flop to start off this session. I'm going to have second best set, which is going to be top set, as I don't see any of my opponents ever having pocket kings in this situation. There is a flush draw on board, so I have to worry about that. But let's just hope one of the villains at the table have some sort of top pair with a decent kicker, so we can start extracting money from them. Big blind's going to check, low jack checks, and there is no way we're going to check and allow our opponents to see a free turn. We have to start putting some sort of money in the pot. I think about my sizing, and it's just going to be a small wager this time around. I make it $40 to go. Villain and cutoff is going to be folding, button calls, and then big blind is going to be laying it down, and the original limper pre-flop is going to be coming along with the call as well. So there's just 3 of us now going to a turn, and it's going to come to 3 of diamonds. Very rough turn here. Diamond flush draw has now completed, but we still do have a set. If somebody does have a flush, we do have some outs here because the board can pair, giving us a full house on the river. I'm expecting low jack to check, but it looks like they're taking the initiative here. And keep in mind here, the pot has a little over $200 in it. They're going to be putting in that donk lead here, placing out a wager of $75. This puts me in kind of an awkward spot. At this point, I do look at villain stack and notice that they only have 200 or so behind, and I have button left to act behind me. I really don't want to give button an easy decision here with placing a call to see a free river. So this time around, I'm going to be going for the raise, even with the flush out there. So I am going to be bumping it up, not by much though, to $150. And it looks like my raise works exactly how I wanted it to. Button is going to be laying it down, but unfortunately when it gets back to low jack, they're going to announce that they're all in. We can't go anywhere now. I snap call. We're going to go to the river, and it comes to 3 of hearts. My opponent lets me know they have a flush, and I turn over my cards and let them know I got a boat. So what a beautiful river there. We did get saved, but my opponent shouldn't have been in there with the jack 2 suited, finding that limp and then calling after, right? And do you know how to prepare for a live cash game session before sitting at the table? Do you know what to look for after sitting down as well? If not, I've prepared a free guide to help you, even if you're going to be playing at WSOP this summer. Click the link in the top right corner or my pinned comment to receive this free guide. Next hand, I'm going to get dealt Queen 10 suited, and I'm going to be on the button. It's going to fold all the way around to me. I'm going to be finding a 3x open here, making it $15 to go. Small blind's going to fold, and big blind's going to be coming along with the call. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 6, 9, 7, 2 clubs. This is a very good flop for Queen 10 suited. There is 1 heart on board, so I do have some backdoor flush equity. And most importantly, I am drawing to what I would believe is going to be the nuts if an 8 were to roll off. Yes, I know I will be behind to jack 10, but it's very hard for my opponent to have that in their hand when I already have a 10. And last thing to know, I do have 2 overcards to the board. My opponent's going to start out with a check, and this is a spot that sometimes you can check back, but this time around, I am going to be taking the more aggressive route. I'm going to be firing out a wager here, and I am going to be making it $20 to go. After a couple of seconds, my opponent is going to be coming along with the call. We're going to go to the turn, and it comes a 6 of spades. Not the card I wanted to see at all. Villain is going to be checking. At this point in the hand, I definitely want to see a river, so I'm going to be checking back. We're going to go to it, and it's going to come the 8 of spades. What a beautiful river. We now have that 4-card straight that I was talking about. And I would love if my opponent somehow finds a bet here and looks like they're going to do just that. I see them start to grab chips. They're going to be placing a bet of $50. And I'm starting to think about my options here in my head. Having a 4-card straight here is just too strong of a hand. We cannot just place a call here. We have to go for the raise. The question is, what sizing am I going to use here? And after deliberating, I decided I'm going to be raising it all the way up to $175, a little bit over 3x. My opponent doesn't call right away. 10 seconds goes by. We get to the 15-second point, and they finally are going to be putting in a call. I let them know I have a straight, and as soon as they see that, they do muck their cards. Beautiful way to start off the session here at Bellagio. Third hand, I'm going to have King 10 suited, and I'm going to be in cutoff position. Just going to fold to my opponent in hijack. They're going to be opening for $15. Not going anywhere with such a strong hand, right? I put in a call. It folds all the way around to big blind. They put in a call too. There's going to be 3 of us, and we're going to be going to a flop of 7 queen 4, 2 diamonds. Beautiful flop for King 10 suited here. I am going to be drawing to the second nuts. And not only that, if a king were to roll off, I will have top here. Weak kicker though. And we also have some runner straight equity as well. Big blind's going to start out with a check. And the original pre-flop aggressor is going to be firing a c-bet here. They make it $35 to go. And I take my chips here, going to be putting in the call. Big blind, however, is going to be laying it down. Let's go to the turn, and it's going to come to 6 of diamonds. Let's get it. We have the king high flush. I am hoping with the flush coming in that my opponent continues to fire out here. Unfortunately, after a couple of seconds, they're going to be checking. So it looks like I'm going to have to do the better myself. I am going to be firing an almost pot-sized wager here. I make it $100 to go. And after a little bit, they are going to be putting in a call. We go to the river, and it comes to jack of clubs. Pretty clean river. The board didn't pair. I 100% have the second nuts now. And to my surprise, as I'm thinking about what sizing I'm going to use against them on the river, I see my opponent at the corner of my eye start to grab chips. And they're going to be putting in a donk lead on the river. This is kind of crazy. How are they finding a lead here? I don't know. But when you have the second nuts, I have no complaints here. I do see that they only have about $200 behind. We cannot leave that money sitting in their stack. So for the first time in the session, y'all know what time it is. It's going to be an on Jam on. I am all in on the river, and villain is going to snap call. I'm delighted, and I let them know I got the king high flush, and they turn over the ace high flush. You have got to be kidding me. They do have the stone cold nuts here. I'm not gonna lie, that's not what I was expecting to see. It's a really rough spot here, but hey, what can you do? That's poker, right? And have you ever had a time where you ran into a spot like this where you had the second nuts and you lose to the stone cold nuts? Let me know about it, as usual, in the comments below. We're gonna have 7-6 suited, and we're gonna be in under the gun +1 position. It's gonna be my turn to act, and I'm gonna find a 3x open here, making it $15 to go. Folds all the way around to cut off. They're going to be putting in the call. Button, however, is going to be grabbing more chips than $15. They're going to be going for that 3-bet squeeze, bumping it up all the way to 55. And it does fold all the way back around to me. And it was kind of a loose open here. But now, hey, what am I to do? I really want to see a flop with this hand, so I'm going to be putting in the call. Cut off is going to be laying it down, and that's fine by me. At least we're going to be heads up in this pot. And we're going to be going to a flop of 7-4 deuce, 2 clubs. Very good flop here for 7-6 suited. We do have top pair, weakest kicker possible. I don't have any flush draw equity, but I do have some runner straight equity here. And with them putting in a 3-bet, I'm going to start out with a check. Looks like they're going to be firing a c-bet. And it's a pretty massive one here in this 3-bet pot. They make it $105. It's almost a pot-sized bet, but having top here, I cannot go anywhere yet. So yes, I take my chips, and I'm going to be putting in the call. We go to the turn, and it comes a beautiful 6 of hearts. We are now going to have top 2 pair on this board. I should be ahead of any hand in my opponent's range at this point. I am going to check. And after a couple of seconds, villain announces he's going to be all in. And I have about 380 behind. I snap call. We're going to go to the river and hopefully it's a clean one. And it comes the 8 of spades. Villain is going to turn over ace 10 of clubs. So they were only live to the club flush. I had them completely dominated and I let them know I have 2 pair, 7-6 suited. I am more than happy to take down this pot. And it feels even better because I win this hand about 5 to 10 minutes after losing with the second nuts. What a way for things to come full circle so quickly in poker. Another suited connector again. I have 5 for a suited in low jack position. Under the gun +1 is going to be putting in the limp. And if you have seen all my other videos and you know how I feel about limps, we are not going to be over limping here. I'm going to be putting in that ISO per usual, and I'm going to be bumping it up to $25. I jacked to my direct left, and this person just sat at the table a couple of minutes ago. They're going to be finding that 3-bet, and they're going to be re-raising all the way to $70. It's going to fold all the way back around to me, and it seems kind of like the same situation that we had before. Well, not exactly the same, but sort of similar. I am more than 100 big blinds effective here with my opponent. I really want to see a flop again with a decent equity hand. So we're going to be putting it in the call. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 4-5-9, all diamonds. Beautiful flop in the sense that I flopped 2 pair. Bad flop in the sense that there's all diamonds on the board. I could be behind to a flush right now. And my opponent could be drawn to the nuts if they have, let's say, ace king with the ace of diamonds or ace queen with the ace of diamonds. And to start, I'm going to check my option. My opponent does think about it for a couple of seconds, but then ultimately they elect to check back. We go to the turn and it comes the 8 of hearts. Happy is not the 8 of diamonds. This does not change much with my opponent putting in that big 3-bet. I cannot allow them to see a river for free. And another thing to note, even though they did just sit at the table, they have been putting in a lot of 3-bets in a very short span of time. So this is going to help me feel even better about the 2 pair that I have. So I'm going to be firing out a massive wager here. And when I say massive, it is going to be an overbet. I do grab my chips and I put out $200 into the middle of the pot. After a couple of seconds, they lay it down. These suited connectors are going extremely well for me today. I have no complaints at all. Another strong hand here. I get dealt ace 10 of clubs in the big blind, and the $10 straddle is going to be on this time. Under the gun is going to be finding a $25 open. It folds all the way around to me in the blinds. I'm just going to be putting in a call. And the straddle only has to put in $15 more. They're coming along too. We're going to be going 3 ways to a flop of 9-8-7 rainbow. Extremely good flop here for ace 10 suited. I am open-ended to what I believe is going to be the nuts. And there is 1 club on board, so I can go runner for the nut flush as well. I am first to act. I'm going to start out with a check. The straddle, even though they were not the pre-flop aggressor, they are finding a donk lead on this board. They do grab their chips, putting out a wager of $45. It's going to be a little bit more than half the pot. And the original opener pre is going to be put it in a call. I will be putting in a call too. Let's go to the turn. And it's going to come the 6 of spades. We're only going to be behind to jack 10. Backdoor spades are now starting to come in, so I do have to keep this in mind. I'm going to check. Villain and straddle is keeping their foot on the gas here. Same person who I just played that 3-bet pot with. They're going to be leading again. This time they put out a wager of $60. Under the gun thinks about this for about 20 to 30 seconds, but finally they are going to be laying down their cards. And I have some things to think about here. Should I raise or put in a call? I did deliberate for a little bit. This time around, I am just going to be putting in a call. We go to the river and it comes a blank 2 of clubs. The blankest card I can possibly see in the deck, right? I'm going to check and hope that this player continues to just put in more money. And they are going to do just that. They do grab their chips and put out a wager of $100. Now, this is a really weird spot here because they did do the triple barrel lead. I do think about my options for a little bit. Ultimately, I do elect to just put in the call. Villain lets me know you're good, and they just muck their cards. Two important things to note about this. Number one, obviously they were just stone cold bluffing. And number two, notice what I do with my cards. I take them and I give them to the dealer as well. Because keep in mind in poker, when you put in a call on the river and your opponent mucks their cards, you do not have to show your cards in order to take the pot. Why would I want to give the table free information, right? So make sure you keep this tip in the back of your pocket just in case you ever face a similar situation. And make sure they fully muck their cards and give it to the dealer though. If they do one of those fake mucks where they still have the cards in their hand, this is not considered a fold. And if you fold, you will forfeit the pot to your opponent. So yes, please keep that in mind. Finally, we're going to have some blind versus blind action. I'm going to get dealt King 5 suited in small blind. It's going to fold all the way around to the blinds. I'm going to find a $15 open here. Big blind, aka Mr. Aggressive at this point. They're going to be finding a 3-bet and they're going to be bumping it up to $50. And I have been keeping a note on how this player has been playing. They just bluffed me a couple of hands ago and mucked their cards. So with how the stars and everything has been aligning here, this is a perfect spot to get a bit out of line. Yes, we are going to be going for it here. I'm going to be putting in the 4-bet. I think about my sizing and I'm going to re-raise it all the way up to $140. And before I can even get my chips fully in the middle, they fold face up and they show ace queen offsuit. So this time around, they did have a really good hand, but that is the power of putting in 4-bets in particular spots. You can make your opponents fold a better hand. And not only that, we just scooped $50 pre-flop and didn't even have to pay any rake. And what did you think about that 4-bet bluff there? Do you like it with King 5 suited? Do you hate it with King 5 suited? Let me know as usual in the comments below. Next hand of the night, I'm going to get dealt pocket 3s in small blind position. It's going to fold all the way around to the button. They're going to make it $15 to go. I'm going to be putting in the call and big blind's going to be laying it down. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 9-3-4, 2 hearts. Let's get it again. We're going to flop a set, but it's not going to be the best set available this time. It is going to be bottom set, but hey, a set is still an extremely strong hand in poker. Not being a pre-flop aggressor here, I'm going to start out with a check, hoping my opponent is going to be finding a C-bet here, and they are going to do just that. They take their chips and make it $25 to go. My hand is just too strong. And not only that, we are playing extremely deep here. I want to start building this pot. I'm hoping villain has some sort of hand to continue with. So we're going to be putting in that check raise. And we're going to be raising it up to $75. After a couple of seconds, they are going to be putting in the call. We go to the turn and it comes the 9 of spades. Very good turn here. No point in getting cute here and slowing down. I'm going to be firing another bet here on the turn. Thinking about my sizing for a bit, and it's going to be a massive one. Yes, a real massive one here. I grab my chips and I fire out a wager of $250. This time my opponent doesn't call as quick. They are going to be going into the tank. And after about 15 seconds, they did say out loud, they believe me. And they fold and show me that they had pocket queens, the ladies, my favorite hand in poker. So it kind of sucks that they didn't continue there. But hey, we managed to scoop a decently sized pot. Let's get to the results. Have you struggled to play strong hands such as ace king and ace queen? Well, make sure you check out this next video to learn how to play them the right way. And even with losing to that ace high flush, I finish up $890.